Page 6, hot air balloon. 3/4 time, no sharps or flats. We're either in C major or A minor. Well, look at the end. The last couple measures, you're here. That's C major, so I'm guessing it's in C major. The idea with this piece is the ledger lines. You got to be able to read these notes of these ledger lines and know the notes instantly. So you don't have to figure them out. You might have to figure them out at first, but you really need to memorize these notes and just know that first note there, that high note in the second measure, that is a C. That's 2 ledger lines. You just instantly know that's a C. That's way up here. Its middle C is here, and then that's an example. All the notes in this piece, all these notes and ledger lines, you need to just know them. So let's do this one hand at a time. 3/4 time, quarter notes. So there's not a lot going on here. They just want to make sure you can read these notes. Let's jump down to the second line there in the middle of the line where it says poco crescendo there, right there with the right hand, F sharp. Now it's a D. Sounds a little weird, but that's what's written. I didn't do it, they did it, it's their fault. Then third line, you come down, you have a rest, you can move. So that's a C chord. You'll recognize these patterns in the music, and it helps to read music, especially when you sight read. But keep this fingering here going down, but then when you come down, you can use 4th finger on the G if you want. And then rest, come down. And the last line is similar, or the same, or something. Left hand, you're starting out in treble clef. So you're up here. That's 2 ledger lines below. One ledger line is a C, 2 ledger lines is an A, and one more note would be a G. So just memorize that's a G. You can see there's 2 ledger lines there, and it's right under them, it's a G. So here, and you take those first 4 notes together. It's a chord. It's a 4th finger on the B. That's fingering for the chord. So that's how I'm going to finger it in the music. So it's 4. Then you get bass clef, so now you're down here on C, and again those first 4 notes is a chord. So you learn to recognize these patterns instantly in the music when you see it, and that helps to make sight reading a little easier, or a little less difficult, I'm not sure, but it helps. So and it's 4th finger on the E, that's the fingering. And then the next line, it's an F chord. Those 4 notes, and it's 4th finger on the A. And then the C chord again. This time, put the 3rd finger on the B because you have a D coming up. You know that's not tied. You play both of them because that line is a slur or phrase, whichever. It's actually a slur. And so, well, it could be a phrase. I don't know what it is, but it's not a tie. And then go on. That's 4th finger on the B. And that's 3 ledger lines above the staff. That is a G. And in my opinion, you should instantly know any notes within 3 ledger lines above or below. Eventually, you'll know them. So just memorize 3 ledger lines, that's a G. And the next note is an F, and the next line is an E. They could have given you treble clef sign in there and written it in treble clef and not have to do the ledger lines, but I think the idea is to give you some exercise in reading ledger lines, so okay, here you are. 3rd line down, 3rd measure, it's an F, and again the first 4 notes, we're just going the other direction, we're going down, it's still an F chord, and 4th finger on the A. And then you can collapse if you want 3rd finger. And then at the end of the 3rd line, you come up, those first 4 notes, it's an A minor chord, 4th finger on the C, and collapse. Those E's are not tied. That is for the slur. That's not a tie. Play them both. And then the last line, 3rd measure, it's an F chord. 4th finger on the A. Then collapse. And at the end, that's a C chord. 4th finger on the E. So I'm using 4th fingers whenever the note is it's next to it or 1 note apart. If it's 2 notes apart, then you can use 3rd finger. Otherwise, if possible, you use 4th finger. There are other styles of fingering, and they will do it differently. But this is the fingering that I use in the arpeggios and the chords and everything else. It's just really helpful to save these other fingers for other things. And pieces get more involved, you can use these other fingers. They come in handy. So get in the habit of using 4th finger on these chords. These chords or these chords or this, whatever it is. 4th finger. Put the hands together slowly. Play it all for you, but the idea is that each hand has a voice. The words given go to the notes in the upper staff, but the notes in the lower staff are echoing that. So you want to play it maybe a little softer than the right hand. It's playing the same thing, slightly different notes, but the idea is it's the same basic melody. It's just copying it for a while. I mean, there's changes to it. So you're putting in the phrasing here. Lift up. There's phrasing in each hand. Now watch out, there's a little trickiness going on at the end of the first line in the left hand going into the second on the slurs. You don't get a rest in between them, you just lift up. So watch out there because the right hand is weird. So here, the right hand's up because of the rest, and for just an instant both hands are. So there's silence in both hands for the. So there's a little weird. Now it helps a little bit on these hands at the end of these phrases. Or these slurs that you get quarter rest, so you can lift up. Just make sure to play the rest, because I tend to hang on, I forget to lift up. So it's like at the end of the first line here, it's here. Lift up in the right hand for one note. And you notice that G in the right hand there is tied. You see 2 of those lines, those slur line thingies. Well, the top one is for the slur and the bottom one is for the tie, because in the left hand they're not tied. You have to play both notes in the left hand. The third line down, the first 2 measures, play both of those E's in the left hand. Now here the A's in the right hand are both, play both. Like so. So watch out on the slurs and the ties and lifting up between the, then add the dynamics. Well, sort of soft. Get to know the piece so you can feel the dynamics. So if this is sort of soft, make the left hand soft. Here, the poco crescendo in the second line means get a little louder, just a little louder. Go up maybe to a medium loud. And now you're medium loud. Well, I poco crescendo to a medium loud, which means I'm going to take the last 4 measures in the second line to go from medium soft to medium loud. Not a lot of difference. So in my opinion, you probably shouldn't start getting louder until toward the end of the second line. Keep this medium soft. Now here, now you can start getting a little louder. So third line, now you're medium loud. That's the right hand. And And then you're staying that way until the end of the third line. You start coming back down, so in the fourth line you're soft. And then at the end there's a diminuendo and a rallentando, and you got a multitask here. It's slowing down and getting softer. It's a very soft, which means the left hand is very, very soft and slower. Now it says calmly for a speed. Well, if you're going to sing this, how fast would you sing it is where not real fast, more like to me it's like an andante thing. It's just a nice stroll, gentle piece. It's the overall feel of it. It's a the idea of sort of what I think it would be. You can go a little slower, faster, however you feel it. Don't play it too fast. You don't want your hot air balloon blowing away. Just a nice, gentle, rocking piece. I'd like to play it with you slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, but we want to make sure we're getting in all these rests and we're lifting up between these slurs and so forth. So I'll give us 3 counts. Now let's play it. Hands where they go. If you can figure it out, it's here, I guess, to start. 1, ready, go.